This is David Schnocke from the North Carolina Department of Ag and Consumer Services Research Stations Division. And as you can see down below me, I have my sidekick Ava with me. And we are standing in an upland longleaf stand on the McCain Tract Forest Management Area in Hope County, North Carolina. So eastward, our neighbor is Fort Bragg, and if we were to look this direction over here, in a couple miles you hit Camp McCall and then the Sandhills Game Lands. So this is a 360 video. I would encourage you to, as I sit here and talk, kind of pan around, get an idea for what the forest looks like in this area, and just get a better idea of what we're working with. But looking around, the overstory in this stand is 100 to 120-year-old longleaf pine that regenerated naturally. We conducted a prescribed burn in this stand back in 2014, and unfortunately the burn got a little bit too hot. It was a very warm April day, and we had a pretty drastic wind shift, and it caught us as well as one of the local state parks as well as Fort Bragg a little off guard. We were all burning that day, and we all had some issues. In this stand, the problem that we had is it got a little bit too hot, put a little bit too much stress on the overstory, and we had an Ips and black turpentine beetle outbreak shortly after the burn. It just stressed the trees a little too much, and those ever-present forest pests were able to build up to outbreak levels. To try to contain that insect outbreak, we elected to do normally what we would want to do is actually harvest a pretty large area, like all of the beetle infected trees and then a buffer around them. But due to the presence of red-cockaded woodpeckers in this area, we were not allowed to do a total harvest. So we decided to do a seed tree cut. We left about 10 to 15 square feet of overstory basal area on the site and then harvested out all of the affected trees that we could. If you look around, you'll notice there are several standing dead snags in here. A lot of that is due to the fact that there was still beetle in here after the harvest, as well as lightning strikes and just general exposure to some of these overstory trees. Because we lost a number of trees that we had retained in that seed tree harvest, I had some concerns over regenerating the site. And to try to put this back into suitable red-cockaded woodpecker habitat, the goal really is to start regenerating longleaf pine anytime we do these harvests. Because we lost trees where we had spaced them, I elected to do an underplanting in this site just to ensure that we got longleaf pine across the entire stand. So this longleaf pine tree that I'm looking at right here, this was planted in 2016. So it's 3 or 4 years old at this point, and actually showing pretty good growth. But if you want to look around, you can see there's actually a considerable amount of longleaf that has regenerated in this site, as well as pretty good response from wiregrass after the harvest. Pretty much a nice carpet all the way across. And it is still wintertime here, so the oak has not quite put out its leaves yet, but if you do look around, you can notice there's not as much scrub oak in this stand as you'd see in others. So that's actually a good thing for us. We want some for wildlife purposes, but in general we want to kind of keep those at bay. So as you look around, I guess just to recap, this is an example of a seed tree harvest in an upland xeric sandhills longleaf site we contributed to the regeneration process by actually underplanting containerized longleaf pine seedlings to ensure that we would have adequate stocking here long term. So with that, I'll shut off the video and do a few more across this beautiful property.